Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 14 of Across the Board. I'm your host, MJ. In tonight's episode, we have episode 2 of Zero to Hero Jishin, where you follow along and take a horse from being bred all the way through its entire life, ups, downs, everything in between. Tonight, we're also going to be talking about not only finding a good distance for your horse, but also the right race for your horse. And we'll be talking about Richie and his a news article that dropped on the races. Before we get started, no information here is financial advice of any kind. The goal of the show is to educate and entertain. Web3 games are subject to change at a moment's notice. So please, if you decide to spend your hard-earned money, plan accordingly. Before we start talking about Richie's races, just want to give a shout out and thank you to It's Just Mr. Probs. We've got Marto Mill and It's Your Destiny 07 for the follow in the past week. Appreciate you very, very much. Looks like in chat we've got Siberia, we've got Foron, and we've got Superman. Superman, we're going to be giving a little feature to you later tonight on the show. Arden Park, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Chat, if you donate or if you follow and I do not acknowledge you, call me out. Also, if I mispronounce your name, call me out. Please correct me. That's the last thing I would want to do. Want to be very respectful of chat. I'm just going to pop over here to my third screen. Perfect. Okay. We are all good to get started and dive right into things. So first thing we're talking about tonight is the race schedule update. What's up, poker player? Any claims tonight? No, nothing new. I've been watching daily. I put in one or two, didn't get them. That's fine. But we'll talk about lucky number 11 tonight as well. Don't you worry. How could I not? How could I not? So the first thing tonight is the race schedule update blog that was put out. So Richie Choi, product director for Third Time Games, put out a blog post talking about the season and scheduling, along with a little bit about his philosophy and kind of what we can expect in the future of all of this. So looking at kind of just the season 6 summary, again, I'm not going to read all of this for you. If you'd like to read it yourself and you haven't already, I highly recommend you do so. Check it out right here. But I'm going to give you kind of a brief summary, some rundown of some things that stood out to me and my thoughts on those. So yeah, starting with this summary, mentioned it was a challenge implementing Juveniles Gen 1 as it added more complexity to the schedule. And I think that's definitely something that we felt as users wasn't a bad thing, but it was just different. But I thought, for being the first go of it on, production, I thought it was done pretty well. I know people have been complaining, myself a little bit, of just some dry spells with certain races, but that's okay. It wasn't a complete drought, and by any means. And one of my favorite things about this game for me personally is that photo finish is not a grind. You don't have to sit on this 24/7 365 and just constantly be checking for races or anything like that. No, with the schedule you can kind of set, forget, get yourself set up once you're dialed in, and you're good to go. And it's actually something I really like about the game. He also commented on how unpredictable the weather was, mirroring real life. And, now players may have to make more of a choice in terms of what they're willing to sacrifice in order to keep racing at high volumes. For me, that can be kind of tough, as I'm a little stubborn, some say patient, with, my race selection. I feel I'm very dialed in with certain horses, but I'm slowly learning to branch out slightly, especially with some bred horses or some horses that are kind of under-raced, in my opinion. I've used those charts that I've shared on stream before, looking at the horse profile, if you will, the boosts across different attributes, and how that might play into kind of a distance preference. Again, if anyone ever wants that run for their horse or created, I would be more than happy to provide that to you. Shoot me a DM, say, hey, you want this? I felt it's lined up pretty well with some of the horses that I've seen. Then the next section is about the last 5 benchmarking, which I thought was very, very interesting. We got Mando in chat. Hold on. How long have you been covering photo finish? We're on episode 14, so just over 14 weeks here. Mando, OG in the house. So good to see you. Welcome, 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 Mando. So the last five benchmarking. This they commented on. This is a step towards grade-free racing. I thought there's some interesting topics here talking about grade decay over generations. I thought was kind of what really stood out to me. Kind of as what seemed to be implied was that as the generations kind of go out, the grades become more meaningless, which I thought was really interesting. For example, horses from very specialized stats versus horses that are more generalized. This is something I've talked about with Jishin and my breeding strategy for him, in how I was going for definitely a specialized type horse because Wabi Sabi and Weekend Moderator have the exact same preferences for track and for overall boosts. Those are near identical. And we'll talk about his performance a little later, but I've had some success with that. I believe Trot is demanding still that the horse be piss tested. So we'll see. Ian still hasn't bothered me about that yet. In the example that he mentioned here, he said that the grade could be the same, but it's really the underlying performance that could be very, very different. So, if I'm breeding for short distance and, really want to focus on, start performance versus, hey, I want to go, here's a high boost, maybe across the board boost, but, longer middle distance horse. It's not necessarily a bad horse. It's just different. And over time, that's going to get muddier and muddier, in theory, especially with people just kind of, breeding up. If they want to breed for grade, I feel that becoming the case more and more. Experimenting with players, driving demand, and avoiding repetition. Again, this makes sense. But for someone who is super stubborn and dialed in with a smaller stable, can be a little tough. It's not a bad thing. It's just an observation. I really like the third time mantra of constantly striving for progress instead of making large sweeping changes. This is a problem that I've seen so many Web3 NFT games make, in that they just, okay, it's this new season or we're mid-season. Here's this huge update that's going to completely change the way we breed, the way we race. No, people get very upset with that. It can be a great change, and some people are going to be really happy. Others are going to be really pissed about it. So I like the kind of, let's just slowly progress. Let's identify. Let's take data they call it out in this article, from racers, from the races themselves, from the players in the races, and let's combine that, and then let's slowly start to improve. I think that's just really smart. I really like the way the team is, handling this going forward. And I think it's just going to get better and better over time. I also want to point out how much I respect Richie for letting things play out and not jumping in too soon to make changes. Again, kind of tying in with that same theme. I think it's really, really important that you make a change, let things sit, let the season play out, and then react, gather your data, and move forward. So as a result, they removed low-performing races, full coverage for handicaps, and additional claiming races. So then looking at, season 7 and what's coming here, they're taking a more targeted approach to distribution. Instead of flat 3-day coverage for all, they're utilizing a density of grade and preference populations. Based on demand, they'll sign a 6 for 2-day and full range of races. Claimer races are getting significant boosts to ensure more coverage for all. So hopefully, we get some fun new opportunities there, with roughly 50% or more coverage across various price points and preferences. Excuse me. They'll be trimming the unpopular race types, like mating claiming, that haven't lived up to demand expectations. And Season 7 will provide more races than last season, which, yes, I think we all are super, super happy to hear. They say by default, not accounting for Oracle. Then they talk a little bit more about, claiming races down here. And the thing I want to kind of point out is just this chart. And hey, Foam, how you doing? Well, definitely more than happy to address that for you. Towards the end of the show, I will be taking all questions, so we'll definitely take a look at that. May have some questions on your question. But yeah, thank you for popping in. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. So this claiming chart right here, I really, really like a lot. It's simple, it's straightforward. Anyone who's looking at this can quickly see what it is, what it means, It's not hidden behind some crazy terms or crazy line graphs. It's very simply done, very straightforward, very to the point. This is what a great graph looks like. So you've got your number of races, you've got your claiming price, and you can see the green being the amount that were canceled, the blue being the amount that were ran. Once we hit this 20, really the 25,000 mark, you can see that ratio of ran to canceled is very, very high, very, very good. Whereas the 5, 10, and 15 kind of struggled with that. So very cool, honest, straightforward. The big takeaways for me were, slowly iterating, slowly growing, want to take in data from the races, data from the players, and, they're testing out a new strategy for this season. And I have no doubt in my mind that if it goes great, they're going to continue to improve. And if it goes horribly, which I don't see happening, that they're going to see that very clearly and they're going to be able to address that. So appreciate Richie for taking the time to put this out for us. I thought it was a really nice article. And again, if you would like to read it all yourself, I skimmed over a bunch of it, but I just threw that link in chat. Speaking of chat, going to circle back right now. We've got some new people here. Soul, I see you on both Twitch and on Kick. Big shout out to you there, Foam. And then appreciate the follow as well. Yes, there we go. 2 minutes ago. Thank you. Very, very, very much appreciated. Lady Luck Racing, morning. How you doing, Lady Luck? Welcome, Lady Luck. Thank you for the follow. It just popped up. So now we are going to talk a little bit about, speaking of claiming, I thought this would be a good segue. Superman, thank you for the follow. The follows are flowing tonight, chat. Absolutely flowing. Thank you. Love to see it. Very, very grateful. No worries at all. So, let's see. Last week, on stream, I believe it was Poker, if you're still here, who pointed it out. I claimed this. I was very lucky in claiming this horse, lucky number 11. So, lucky number 11 is a 3, 6, 8, 9, 12, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 boost right dirt firm mare, which I was very fortunate to have claimed in a 15K Derby claimer. And when the horse was claimed, only had these two races. So 11 furlong right dirt good, 5 furlong right dirt good. So what I'm seeing here is just looking at the boosts alone: 3 start, 3 speed, 2 stamina, 1 finish, 3 heart, 2 temper. So I'm seeing here we could probably race with decent size fields, hopefully. And it's probably going to be more of a sprinter just looking at this. So how I had approached this and why I wouldn't necessarily go right to my tools, because, well, this horse only had 2 races, so I don't have much to go off of. So I'm going to take a look at the boost profile and the track preferences. So pretty strong track preferences. So I'm feeling good about that. I want to look for, fast and good tracks on right dirt. I'm going to look more in kind of that sprint mid distance. So 11 to me just didn't seem like a great call. That's all right. It's discovery. We got to learn. 5 furlongs I thought was better, but maybe a little too short. And the reason why I say that is because of the speed and stamina grades being a little longer. I feel like it could drag that out. Again, this is all hypothetical. I don't have a crazy calculation worked out that says here's the exact distance, but just based off of my experience evaluating horses, that's kind of where I was at in thinking about how to race and move this horse. So then I went up a little bit, looking at 7. And in the first race at 7 furlongs, with me in my stable, we got first out of 5th. Second race at 7 furlongs, we've got third out of 7th. And final race, which was yesterday, we got third out of 11th, but still profitable even in these third place races. So extremely, extremely over the moon happy with this horse. Again, I'm so crazy lucky for this claim, but very, very happy with the performance so far, and also just wanted to share this as a way for newer players and or horses without many races, the kinds of things that I look for when trying to pick a distance starting out. The races themselves too, I'll make sure that it's handicapped around that horse's grade. I'm not going to go into an A grade max stakes race with this horse. I'm going to stick A minus if I can, or I'll do a just full handicap race, just to try and level that playing field as much as possible. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lady Luck. Thank you, Poker Player. Thank you, Foam. I think it was 34, 38 total claims were placed on this horse. So very, very lucky. And yeah, this cost me 15,000 Derby from that claiming race. It was this race right here, the Diamond Dust claiming 15K. Superman says, got lucky with the B plus Marin 15K claimer this week too. Levels below this one though, for sure. Hey, that's still a huge win, Superman. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yes, it absolutely is a steal. I'm very, very, very lucky. What's up, Latuda over on Kick? How you doing? King of the claiming game. Too kind. Too kind. Okay, so now we're gonna switch gears again. A little update on lucky number 11, but now we're gonna talk about the man of the hour, Jishin. Everyone's favorite, maybe performance enhancing drug using horse. And so since last week, had 3 more races with Jishin. First one being this summer allowance odds. Small field, 4 horses. Jishin coming in with the 3rd best odds. The worst of the A minus, but better than the B plus. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take a look at this right now, chat. We'll get this up. And I'm not going to put the audio on because I don't want to risk causing hearing loss for all of you. But here's some just kind of follow through on some general observations with Jishin as we go through. You can see in the bright kind of teal turquoise quirkies silks. Through the first furlong, Jishin's just kind of chilling. I believe in the races last week, he was very, very quick to get out of the gate. This one was a little slower. So this is 5 furlong, left turf soft, where I believe I had run him last week and had some success. And one thing that I'm noticing, and this very much could be anecdotal, but this horse loves a good turn. Around a turn is when this horse starts to excel. We're at 3 furlongs, pulls out ahead in first. Number 4 starts to catch him. And number 3 is coming in hot. Very, very close race. At 4 furlongs, Jishin falls down to 3rd with 100 meters left. And does he have one final push? Ends up finishing in 2nd in an incredibly, incredibly close race. But that is a wonderful podium, and we will take that Derby and that crown. So looking at the performance here, I mean, very, very, very small gap between 1st, 2nd, 3rd. But pretty happy. Entry was 490. Place got 509. So a win, but a small win, and most importantly, in my mind, another podium. So pretty happy with that. Next, we have the Tavern Stakes with Jishin. Yeah, looks like 3rd best odds again. Another small horse fields. I had a lot of trouble getting these or seeing these races fill. We'll see what happens with this in season 7. But not too bad. So this is now 6 furlong left turf sloppy. So we went up. We're going 1 furlong farther. And again, look at that kind of quick little burst he had. And then he kind of got clipped by Tiana there to start. I thought that was kind of a cool animation. But yeah, he seems to recover nicely and holds his own through the beginning. And again, just similar kind of profile to before, if I remember this race correctly. Just kind of holds his own, slowly cruising. And then as we start to come up into the turn, he starts to pick up speed. And then through the turn, he just goes. 4 tries to catch here. I don't think it does. Yeah, 4 furlongs in, still holding first. Still pretty happy with him. And I think in this one, I don't know, this one's going to be close. But yeah, Crystal with just 100 meters left. I don't think we'll be able to catch. And yes, this was our win for the week. So super, super happy about that. Wasn't as close, which made me feel a little better about things. And for this one, 770 entry fee and a win got me 1330. So that was big. That was a really, really nice win. Great for the profitability. And then finally, we have the Horizon Trophy Stakes. 5 fields, like 6 furlong left turf sloppy. And where are we sitting there with odds? Again, not great. Not great. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that, chat. All right, so this is the Shingmun Racecourse, 6 furlong left turf sloppy. This is an A- stakes race, and it looks like we might have rugged here on the replay. Let's see if we can get it going. Come on. All right, we got a replay rug. No worries. But we ended up getting third. So loss here, but still a podium. And if you look at this, again, very, very close between, almost all of these times. This was a very, very close race. So what did I learn about Jishin after these 3 races? So kind of overall, right now, he's sitting at 8 starts with 7 out of 8 races being podiums. Career earnings of 7,772. Largest prize is 1848. Looking at his kind of race selection here, this 8 was the first. I think that was a little bit of a fluke. 5th was solid. First out of 11. Really very strong race. Felt good about that one. That 8th was not good. I think this is, more accurate in terms of how he would perform. Then we got second, first, third. Very, very happy with his performance. Just absolutely over the moon. Bloodline again, weekend moderator, and Wabi Sabi, my mare. And again, identical left, identical turf, identical soft, and the exact same boost between both of these horses. Not saying this will happen if you find a match like this. I'm not guaranteeing you'll get the same results by any means. But very, very happy. And you look here at the total profit, we're looking at 21.5271. So again, this was a 4,000 breed plus, the fee. We are, over halfway, right about the halfway point of making that breed back through his first season. So when I think about it that way and kind of how I look at and consider the financials of it for myself personally, I'm over the moon happy with this. Sure, it could be better. It also could be a lot worse. And yeah, I just think he's doing great. Shout out to Mo for weekend moderator. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've got another baby from Wabi and weekend coming out soon. I cannot wait to see what the result of that horse is, what that horse looks like. So now we're going to shift gears one more time. Foam, I'll get to your question a little bit. I want to spend some time talking about not just distance preference, but also race selection. Superman, if you're still here, was kind enough to shoot me a DM and wanted some help with his horse, Iced Cousin. So we're going to get Iced Cousin up on screen here. Let's see. What is that looking like? We're going to zoom in a little bit so we don't get too much cut off. So this is my tool, Horsepower. Again, for those of you that came from Zed, this is very similar to Zanalytics. Awesome. Superman is still here. So what you do is you type in your horse name on the top left here. I did that for Iced Cousin. Then the second thing I would do is make sure that this is drawn out. Now, it is going to be a few days behind due to the security updates from PFL, but that's a great thing. We want our assets to be secure. Rest assured, fresh data will be coming, but as long as you have some races in your belt from the past few months, I still think there's going to be a lot of value here. So when you look at a horse, and I'm going to I gave a pretty long, drawn out explanation to Superman about this. I'm going to try and simplify that a little bit, so I'm not just talking your ear off for the next 20 minutes. But here's what I look at, and here's how I would use my tool as someone that's new, doesn't know what to look at, and just sees, oh my gosh, there's a ton of data here. What do I do? So we got the horse name in. We dragged the dates all the way over to the right. The first thing I'm going to do is look down at this distance chart. Okay, so I'm going to see 7, 8, 5, 9, 6, 12, 11, 10. That doesn't make sense. What is the order of that? Well, it's based off of your profit. So we can see right here that 7th is the most profitable, followed by 8th, then 5th. And then we start going into negative. So right now, this is telling me, okay, maybe I should consider 7 and 8 furlongs. If I wanted to look at the individual races, I could. Here's where I would do so down here. You can see, was the horse injured? The name of the race track, the entry fee, profit, number of horses, odds, finish time, place, all of that information, fleet figures, speed. But then we're going to go down. We're going to go down here now to the bottom. And so I'm going to start on the left. And this is your finish percentage. And lower number is better. So if I'm racing in a 4-horse race and I finish first, my finish percent is going to be 25%. If I'm in a 10-horse race and I finish first, my finish percent is going to be 10%. So the lower numbers, the better. Anything below 40, I'm pretty happy with. So I see 5 down here is really low with a high fleet figure. Interesting, but doesn't seem to be profitable. I see 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's a little bit of a dip at 7 here. And fleet figure's still pretty high. I want to avoid the bottoms. We're kind of near the top within a few points. That's good enough for me. The other thing that I'm seeing here is a trend upwards. So as we go from, the sprints to the more kind of distance races, you're going to see that finish percent go up. To me, that says this horse is probably better suited at the shorter distances. Now we're going to go over to everyone's favorite ball chart. And so what we're looking at here is speed in miles per hour. The bottom axis is your distances in furlongs. The red ball is your horse. So that is how your horse has performed. Now, depending on your grade, it's going to be higher or lower naturally because this is looking against all other horses. And I talked a little bit about the pitfalls of just looking at speed on my last stream. So use this as kind of and kind of true to the form, use it as kind of a barometer of like, okay, well, we've got some decent speed with the median being the middle of the shaded box. So if you're above the box in any of these, you're running pretty fast, but there are so many other factors that come into play for horse performance. So I've had horses that are not great with speed, according to this chart, but still do well. So, okay. I see the speed across the board. There aren't any outliers that says, oh my gosh, yes, this is super amazing. I'm guessing short distances here. But one thing I want to do now is really focus on the types of race. We've got an idea on, again, the distance preference, a rough idea, but I want to kind of dial that in and be a little more granular with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to eliminate claiming races from all of these charts. All I have to do is click the little claiming checkbox on the left here and give it a second, and it will update to remove claiming races. So we see now 7, 9, 5. And these numbers have changed. The profit numbers have changed over on the side. Claiming races I got rid of because it can be a little tough to look at, different entries. Am I racing in 100,000? Am I racing in 10,000? Those competitions are going to be vastly, vastly different. The next thing I want to look at is a look at the track preference match. So are you running on preference for your horse? Meaning, are you running, if this is an RTF horse, are you running on RTF? And so from here, I see, wow, okay, this completely changes the picture. Because now 7 and 8 are not great. 12 looks incredible. 12, we have 2,000 profit. And we can see now that this chart has almost completely changed with these middle distances being the worst ones, but then 11 and 12 all of a sudden look nice with some good fleet figures behind them. So I'm thinking, okay, well, non claiming good and fast at these distances, maybe there is something there. 7 races at 12 furlongs, you're winning 14% of the time, you're podiuming 57% of the time. Maybe go that way, but that doesn't feel quite right. And why is that? The reason being is the track prep match will look at RTF horse and RTF track. What it doesn't account for yet, working on it, is the condition. So I see strong direction 2.5 out of 3 boosts. Surface is 3 out of 3. Condition, though, is 1.5 out of 3. So what about yielding? And, talking about different race conditions, different opportunities. So I'm going to change this back to all. And what I'm going to do here on the left is I'm just going to eliminate soft. Because I think this horse could run decently on yielding. Just a theory that I have. Then all of a sudden, this flips again. And we have 7 and 9 up here. 7 being much stronger. 4 races. You're hitting the podium 75% of the time. Winning in 2 of those 4 races. So what? 3 out of the 4, you're finishing second or third. And 1 out of the 4, you're finishing second or third. 2 out of the 4, you're winning. And you're right around your average fleet figure, 65 versus 66. So to me, this says, when we take out claiming, let's also take out maiden as well, because that ship has sailed. We've won a race already. When I do that, that just further solidifies, okay, yep, 7 and 9, great. It wasn't just like, hey, I won a random claiming and I'm good. No, I'm seeing some consistency here at 7 and some really bad fall off at these longer distances. So my recommendations to you, if you want to try and figure out how to best run the horse, I talk about, pieces to the puzzle and how you go about, selecting this and finding this for your horse. Plug in the name, extend out the date, look at your track preferences. Are they strong? Are they mid? Then adjust the event type and race condition accordingly. So, if you want to keep the horse, take out claiming. Maybe you got it from a claimer. Let's eliminate that noise. Let's eliminate noise from the maiden. Let's align the race conditions to the preferences of the horse. So my conclusion from this was, hey, let's check out 7. It's not a huge sample size, only 4 races, but they've been really, really strong in performance. So let's take a look at this horse and how it had done. And if we scroll down, I like the coat on this horse a lot. Right when, the data stopped, what was it? It was on the 12th. So right here. So this is a new race. So 6, yep, nope. 7th, right turf yielding. So that kind of hits the recommendation. Let's see why this potentially got 9th out of 11. And we had an Amax stakes and right turf firm yielding. And if we look down here at Iced Cousin, there's less than a second that comes between second place and 7th place. So even though this was not great in terms of that performance, I'd imagine if we can see if we can get to the end here. Yeah, look at how close this pack gets. Like absolutely wild finish. Kind of cool race to watch. But if I see that and I see, okay, well, this wasn't that bad of a loss. On paper, it was in terms of position, but time-wise, not that bad. If we go back to the races, then we went 9. Okay, that was another one that we thought could be good. That was the second right here. That was profitable, and you got a second place. Cool, and profitable. Awesome. Then 12, and 12 was the dangerous one. Right turf yielding on 12. Don't think that's a great fit. Maybe good or fast could be better based on the filters we put down on the side, but then finally had the redeeming moment of hitting 7 furlongs, right turf yielding. And I believe my recommendation came on the 19th, 18th or 19th, um, right before this race was run, and ended up pulling in a first place out of fifth. So congratulations to Superman on the dub. Congrats to Iced Cousin. Good luck with racing. But I just thought that could be useful for people to understand. I get so many questions about how do I run my horse? What do I look at? How do I start? People can be entering claimers, people can be crown farming. There's so many different incentives for people to race right now. But if you're just looking like purely at, win, place, show, you want to look at your horse holistically. You want to look at all the different race types and race conditions. Very quick, very easy to do so. Again, just try and match your horse and the races and the conditions with your horse's preferences. And good luck. Again, nothing's guaranteed, not financial advice. Superman in chat says this was the only post-race recommendation, so 100% success rate. What's up, Mo? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And again, congrats to Superman. Glad this is working out so far. But yeah, you've got opportunity, in my opinion, at 7 and 9. I would be curious to try 12 on good and fast just to see what that looks like. And also, I want to give props to Superman too for racing within, grade, racing within the horse's performance. You're not racing in A+ or S- stakes races. I think that's really, really important. Really, really cool. So all right, I want to circle back to Foam if you're still here. You had a question in chat earlier. I want to make sure that I address it. And chat, if you have any other questions, want to look at, talk about horses, want to look at, talk about breeds, more than happy to do so. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead. I'll address this from Soul and we will move on. So Foam Soul says, question, should I wait 5 days to get an A or A+ filly to get a cheaper filly to breed or race? So is that, are you asking that because you think that, like, you've got your eye on a horse, it's going to have its baby, and then it is going to, in theory, be cheaper because it won't be pregnant? What's kind of the angle you're coming at here, Soul, if you're still here, Foam Soul? Let me know your thoughts on that, and either on Kick or Twitch, either one, I am here. And again, I appreciate the follow on Kick. Let's get those numbers up. We can go from there. And if you're not here, I'll do my best to address it. Anyway, so in my opinion, if you are, so you're looking for then an older mare, I would assume, if you're playing that kind of pregnancy angle. And if that's the case, I'm not sure that waiting the few days to wait for prices to drop would be a good thing. You could potentially see prices drop with the new breed of horses that come out. That could be an angle to look for. I can't say for certainty if that's going to be the case or that's going to happen. I'm looking for mares just because I've had this luck, and I think it was Superman had some luck as well in claimers. Keep your eye on that, see what's available there. I would also just kind of make a note of your stable setup. What are your long-term breeding plans? Do you have any breeding pairs in place? Would this complement those? Are you just looking for a female to turn out babies that you can flip? Kind of understanding your long-term vision and strategy, I think, is really important there too. I would start with your long-term vision. I wouldn't necessarily bank on prices dropping just because there are more in the market. I don't think that this would justify a big price decrease. But this is all speculation, not financial advice. I really don't know. That's kind of how I would look at approaching the female market. For me personally, it's claimers, then marketplace, and again, I'm looking for very specific things, very specific standards that I have set for my stable going forward, and kind of what I'm looking for. So, align that with your goals. I don't think buying a filly for the sake of buying a filly or mare is necessarily the way to go if you want to be in this long term. Just my opinion. Advice. Fran Morris Express, thank you so much for the follow. And before we close out, if there are no other questions, I just something was brought to my attention in the PFL Discord. You know, this is kind of news to me, so if I apologize if I get any of the details wrong. But it was brought to my attention that Sly Raven was recently hacked, and I was hacked, not fortunately not of photo finish, but lost a lot of ETH, and I would say better assets due to I won't even say hack, a compromise a few months back, and it is an absolutely horrible feeling and just absolutely just gut twisting. But yeah, it was brought to my attention that Sly Raven was recently hacked. Um, and I know she's been a very prominent member of the community, and there is a campaign that Arden Park had brought to my attention called "Save Our Sly." So if you think about donating to me to my show, I'd ask that you not to do that, and consider donating to her. From what I'm told, the way to reach out to her is to DM her, get her address, whether it be Venmo, PayPal, anything. Send anything you're able or comfortable to do in USDC. No pressure. If you can't, that's okay. But yeah, just hacks aren't fun, and if you're able to do so, please consider at least helping her out. All right. Well, I think this then will wrap up episode 14. Next week we'll come back, hopefully with some fun updates. Got some really exciting things planned for some breeding tools. Really, it's going to affect all photo finish tools of mine. And also, we'll have another update on Jishin and how he's doing. Now being in, age, should be age 3, if not on the date, close to the date. So that'll be a very exciting time, kind of letting him loose, um, getting out of these juvenile races. Mo says, yeah, that was a shame what happened to Raven. A few others. Thankfully, she's able to get all but one of her horses back, as far as I know. That's incredible. That's great. That is absolutely great. Very, very happy to hear that. Hopefully, we can get that last horse back for her. Thanks for that update, Mo. I appreciate it. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. No matter where you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. And thank you for